Hello and welcome to the latest edition of What Does the Giraffe Say with me, Kyt Lyn Walken. We're an organisation that aims to reconnect people in conservation by holding live interviews on social media. Today I am happy to be joined by Kyt, and she is from Crow, and she's going to be talking all about her background and the work they do helping rangers in conservation. So Kyt, if I could hand over to you, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the organisation.
First of all, I want to thank you, Kyt Lyn, for hosting me, and thank you for your commitment to conservation, which is the most important thing. You are doing an amazing job, and I want to thank you for that. From me, from all the rangers all around the world. I'm not speaking just from Conservation Rangers Operation Worldwide. Well, going straight to the point, I'm a full-time trekking instructor. And I'm a conservationist too. And I joined Crow back in 2018, but I was acquainted with them since several years before. And I knew their involvement in conservation. I knew the fact that they were true people with true experience, which is the most important thing, because, you know, paper conservationists are just around the corner. And I just want to be, to involve myself in doing something for conservation with real people. And that's why I decided to join them and to attend to their course back in July of that year. And this is the perfect picture that summarizes, the involvement in Crow. This is a picture taken from Kenya back to last year. And speaking by myself, I attended this 2 weeks course, which is a tough one, really. But this course provides all the tools and all the teachings in order to become a 360 degrees ranger, which means to operate in conservation in an active way, knowing all threats, all the risk of our job, and how to face them in a proper way, in a successful way. And that's it. I could talk for hours and hours about it, especially about the course, which was extremely physically and mentally demanding for me, but it is what it is. You can actually maybe drop some questions at the last part of the interview.
Excellent, thank you. And have you always been interested in conservation? Is it something that you've been passionate about from a young age, or was it something that came later on?
Well, I've been kind of, fascinated as a child, and as a teenager by animals. I used to ride horses since I was 7 years old. So I kind of have this special things towards animals. And later on, I kind of nourish inside myself the desire and then the will to do something in a more active way. That's why I decided to get involved into this kind of an NGO, which is the best way to go when you want to do something very remarkable way, not just words, but true facts. And that's how I got into Crow.
Excellent. And a lot of the work that you guys are doing, you're working with rangers around the world. What sort of work are you doing with them, and why is that this training seem to be so important?
Yeah, because we had this idea in mind that, and it's confirmed, I could say you that, and we drop this quote also on our website, sending to a specific survey which was developed by WF back to some years ago. It was underlined, stress up the thing that 1/3 of the local rangers which operate in Africa and in Asia assess that they receive kind of an inadequate training in terms of remote medicine, tactical medicine, threats they could face during their job, their daily duties with the animals, and so on. That's why we decided to establish some procedures, some standards for local rangers, and to provide them this training they need the most, because it could happen that just one reserve asks for more like an overview on survival skills on track and squeeze as well, and in other parts, in other countries, maybe remote medicine is what they need the most. So we just kind of set up different legs of our missions, and it depends on which focus are on.
And what sort of challenges are you having to face when you're doing these kind of operations?
Well, during patrols, obviously, all the challenges are also related to the presence of poachers inside the reserves, and also to detecting and to remove, obviously, all the snares, the poachers, which are most active by night. They set, among the bushes to trap all kind of animals, because no matter they want to trap, if an animal fell on them, it's gone. It's sorry for the word, but it's gone, because it just starts bleeding, and no one can help in this kind of a situation. So all of the threats and risk that we need to face are tied up to this specific activity by poachers, which is unpredictable sometimes. And if we do patrols by night, the risk of a close encounter is extremely high, extremely potential. It is not a remote possibility that you may run across. It's a real one, for sure.
Yeah. And then the people that are going over to do this training, what typical background do they usually have?
Well, we have international rangers from all over different kind of backgrounds. I mean, we have some people which belong to law enforcement, former military, but we have also biologists. For example, Juan Arteris, which connected at the very beginning of this interview, is our biologist. And because we understood that the different skills put together can actually create a very remarkable work in terms of conservation, because you can actually combine like real operational field with all the studies, all the analysis of that specific area, all the threats and the situation of poaching over there, and so on. And also speaking with the local populations and members of it is extremely important in order to create, like, the most complete job as possible. So we just don't want to create like we are here and you are here in terms of, but we just want to create an equilibrium, because an equilibrium can provide results. And that's it.
And we've got a question coming through from Sin Frost, and they're asking, do you work side by side with the government law enforcement?
It depends by the country. It depends on the country and all the agreements that we have with the specific associations in the countries we operate the most. In Congo, for example, we do. And Congo DRC is one of the most dangerous countries in the world because of the presence of poachers, of their unpredictable actions, and all the bad news we received from this country over the past years, and the present too, unfortunately. But they need to, the commitment over there can be, conduct without some government law enforcement agencies sometimes.
Okay, thank you very much. And then if someone was looking at you and thinking, okay, this sounds like something I would really like to do, what sort of advice would you give to people who wanted to follow in your footsteps?
Well, we are always extremely glad to welcome new people inside the team of CROW. As said before, we have rangers all around the world with different backgrounds. We have something which is extremely specific on this on the second page on our website, Becoming a Ranger. So you can just maybe take a look over there, and if you want to contact us for getting more information, you can just drop an email to info@crowngo.org. By saying that, if you have also a degree in biology, it is extremely good, because we always look for collaboration with people with biologists, researches and going on and degrees and so another manner to get involved in what we do is, for example, to send us some materials people don't use anymore. I mean, like boots, rucksacks, whatever. Because this kind of material, maybe it lies somewhere inside your home, but in Africa, it is extremely precious to the local rangers. Because sometimes they don't even have strings for their boots, and giving them the possibility to have high quality stuff is absolutely remarkable. I mean, another manner is to help us economically speaking. You can find us on Patreon. We have a specific page over there, but you also have like a donate button on our website. Under the page donate to the cause. So you can be part of our team remotely in a very, very different way.
And what about with you yourself? What sort of challenges did you face? I mean, one of the things I love about you is that you're very hands-on. You're doing a lot of work that is typically seen as like a male's role kind of thing, and you're challenging those kind of those expectations. Have you had any experiences here? And if what advice would you say to other girls who are looking at you and wanting to do something similar?
Well, as a woman, I can tell you that all of the risk and all the features of being a conservation rangers are pretty much evident. I mean, especially during missions and during deployments, obviously, being a woman doesn't help so much because of all the difficulties we need to face over there. But I could say you the very same in other countries all over the world. It's not only related to Africa, obviously. The thing that I can tell you is that every one of us has like a specific value, and maybe as a woman, I'm not be of a high value in some specific tasks which are more, a male thing, okay? But my tracking skill as a tracking instructor could be extremely resourceful, and useful in some countries that may have not so much great experience and the tradition at all. Because, also new generations in Africa, they're not supposed to be extreme trackers because sometimes tradition has been lost during the generations. So something like this. In my specific case, okay, but every one of us, I knew other great women out there that have a specific value and they put into use in conservation, and that's it.
Yeah, perfect. We've got another question coming through from Arthur, and he's asking if you have any recommendations for animal or man tracking courses in Europe in French or in English.
Okay, Arthur, thanks a lot for the question. I don't want to be so much on my side of saying this thing because I can tell you just drop me a message and I could invite you to my courses. But the fact is that there are a lot of good animal and man tracking courses in Europe, in French and English. In English, we have a lot. We have a lot of classes, a lot of good instructors all over the continent. In French, I know that there are some animal tracking classes. I could eventually send you a message with more specific about it.
Excellent, thank you. And then obviously you can't talk about anything at the minute without mentioning COVID and the impact that's having around the world. What sort of impact are you seeing from your organization's perspective? Are you seeing an increase in poaching, in the illegal wildlife trade?
Well, obviously, speaking as a ranger, the coming on of COVID and all the restrictions also in terms of a travel ban impact a lot in a negative way. We have some other deployments going on last year, and we kind of need to withdraw all our projects and to stop them temporarily. Let's hope so, just because we're not allowed to travel to Africa. And there's a thing of COVID impacted negatively also in terms of prevention of criminal activities by poachers, because no tourists means less people, going around, and more illegal activities going on during the day and daylight too. So it is like having a dark hole, Emiana, that kind of extend the more the COVID-19 was spreading all over the countries. And it's not easy at all to kind of border it. We are trying to do that by keeping constant communication with local communities and creating the opportunities to work with them, to collaborate with them as soon as possible. For this specific reason, we have some ongoing missions in the next months. Let's hope for no new travel ban, man. But we want to come back in some reserves. We already collaborated because in some cases, for example, in Congo, the situation about chimpanzee poaching is really, really worrying. And we actually needed to go over there and to help local rangers in a kind of border this slaughter, because let's call it as it is, just to mention Congo, but not to mention all other countries.
And yeah, kind of feeding on a bit more from that. What is the situation with the poaching of chimpanzees there at the minute? Is it for the illegal wildlife trade, for pets? Why is it getting so bad?
For illegal trade of parts of them, as well for keeping them as a pets. And it's worrying because we receive a photo of a baby chimpanzee, which was rescued several days ago from one of our collaborators in Congo, which is really a good news. But for one saved, how many others are gone? How many others? And that's why then we need to, to be extremely active. And by being active, I mean just be on the field.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I only have one more question left. If there's anyone back home who's watching that have got a question that you'd like to put towards Kyt, then please do put it in the comments, and I'll put it towards her. And if you're watching this and it's not live, but you still have a question that you'd like to ask, then again, pop it in the comments, and one of us will be able to get back to you. So I always try and end on a bit of a positive note. So I was wondering, Kyt, what your favourite success story is.
Well, we have several. I can summarize them in just one single image. Let's figure out when you are patrolling on field and you run across into a snare with no animal trap. That is really like a relief image, because for one snare found without any trapped animal in it, it means that we were able to prevent crime. And this is absolutely a good news. The next action that we do is just to remove it very carefully using gloves, because most of the time the snares are made of rusty iron, rusty material, and being infected is not like a remote possibility. With these snares, they are like the symbol of a life saved, let's call it this way. And this is the image that I want to transmit to you and to all our the people that which are connecting right now.
Okay, awesome. We've got some really nice comments coming through. People are saying that you're doing some wonderful work and to keep up the good work. We've got another question coming through from Sin. He's asking that if you've been trained, how soon after training do they typically then get deployed?
Well, right after the 2 weeks course total, in order to become a ranger, according to your ability in terms of time, engagement with your family and whatever, the deployment is just extremely near. It just depends, again, also not only from your availability, but also with all the agreements that we have with a specific park or a specific reserve. It's like the next step, okay? So it's not like For example, I attended the course and it will took me something like 2 or 3 years before being deployed. Not at all. First occasion, you go and you do your part in conservation.
And then if someone wanted to become a ranger, what would they need to do? Would they need to get in touch with a local organisation near them, or do they get in touch with you? How does that work?
No, can you kindly elaborate the question, because I miss you for the poor connection just a little bit.
That's fine. If someone wanted to become a ranger, do they then go to the local organisations to contact them, or do they contact you guys? How does it work?
Oh, it just depends. Because if they are already, for example, in Africa, they just can reach out to their local community ranger inside a specific reserve and ask to be trained over there. Then later on, maybe the reserve can get in contact with us and we can arrange deployment for our rangers and for our instructor in order to provide the free training. In case you are, for example, a person who is living in Canada, let's say this way, you just have to drop us an email and we will contact you, letting you know the next dates of our next conservation ranger course, giving you all the details, and that's it.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, well, that's everything from me. Is there anything that you'd like to wrap up with before we go?
I want to thank you so much for your involvement. It's really admirable. And one last thing to all the people which are connected. We are not only on Facebook, so if you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Twitter, on LinkedIn. We have a channel on YouTube too, with a lot of videos, something like more than 40, I think, which kind of explains not only all the part which is connected to the deployments, but also some videos that depict our conservation ranger course training and so on. And if you have any kind of question, we are more than pleased to help you and to just give people all the information you may require.
We've just got another question quickly come through, actually, from Will Wright, and he's asking, how does Crow tackle the demand for the illegal animal trade?
Well, that's a good question, because in order to do this, we need to actively collaborate with specific organizations which are on the field. Because as a conservation rangers, we do our part, but we also need the involvement of the local population, because sometimes illegal animal trade, is just support. It's sad to be said, but the truth is by people which are on some specific countries. So without the support of conservation associations which are on the field and they are already actively working, we can actually not only tackle it but also to arrest it, to stop it. Thanks a lot, Stacey, because I see your comments.
Yeah, she's saying thank you for the wonderful work. Yeah. We've got another question coming from Vincent. Yeah. He's asking, do people get paid as a ranger, or is it a volunteer? Because most would like to stay there and live off it, as well as making it a career.
Well, as a volunteer ranger, for the very first deployments, we have no salary at all. But in a second moment, when the years goes by, maybe you can kind of make your dream come true, because I read this part, because most of us would like to stay there. Obviously, I understand it, because Africa, for example, is such a wonderful country. But in order to reach that status, you need to gain a lot of experience, because no experience means no real ability, and sometimes no means to prove people you are very good at what you do, and that's it. So it just depends, Vincent. It just depends on the specific situation. Not easy to kind of generalize with one answer.
And then we've got another one coming through. We've got all the questions coming through now. Stacey Settlefield. So hi, Stacey. She's asking, overall, are the local communities supportive of your work in terms of the illegal wildlife trade, specifically with chimpanzees?
I can truly say quite all of them, yes, they are. They are very collaborative because communities are already engaged in conservation. They knew the importance, the value of having biodiversity in our country. There are bad individuals, that's it. Bad individuals are quite everywhere, and I mean not only in poaching. So what we actually observe in the few years ago in Congo, in other countries, is that the local communities are very, very active in conservation. They have a real awareness of it, and they try also to transmit it to, you know, their to all the next generation as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's their heritage at the end of the day, isn't it? And it's something they're rightfully proud
Absolutely.
of. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up now. Thank you, everyone, for all your questions. We really appreciate you tuning in. And if you've enjoyed this interview, then please head over to What Does the Giraffe Say Media's Facebook page, and you'll see many other interviews with all the people in conservation around the world sharing their incredible stories of the work that they do. As well, as Kyt said, don't forget to have a look onto all of their social media pages and their website for ways that you can help support them too. So thank you so much, Kyt, for coming on. Really appreciate it. And thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Same to you. Keep up the good work all together.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks a lot. You too.